Join me for Ask the Good Doctor, live today and every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Central Standard Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bring your questions.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire. Welcome to Ask the Good Doctor. What do you know? It's Wellness Wednesday. I am here to help you attain, maintain, and reclaim your perfect health. And today we are doing that via the spirit work that we do here at Ask the Good Doctor. Oh, you're not going to want to miss this today. We are celebrating Black Music Month, and we are talking to someone else who has done something extraordinary in this field of Black music. I'd like to welcome LT Ladino. She is one of my Women Behind the Mic sisters, and she is also known as the employment therapist. And I'm going to silence my phone for once and for all today because I forgot to do that. But LT Ladino is known as the employment therapist, and we have been friends for years. So welcome, LT. How are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm just so glad for you to be with me today. I want to jump right in. Listen, LT and I worked together at Arista Records, and it was always the LT-LJ show. If we said that something was handled, bank money on it. It was handled. LT, I'd like for you to share with everyone about what you did at Arista Records and some of the artists that you've worked with, because I think that's just extraordinary. And let me back up for a minute. It is important for people to know about this history that has been cemented in Black music. You may not know our names, LaJoyce and LT, but you certainly know our work. And those are the things that I would like to highlight here today, because LT has done some extraordinary things. And I think that in life, that when you are putting your head down and working really hard, it leads to something extraordinary. And you may not exactly know what that is at the time. In my case specifically, I did not. But what we have done has become a little thing that the world calls pop culture today. So, LT, talk about some of your experiences and what kind of role that you took on at Arista Records.
Arista was one of my favorite places to work because it was really where I cut my teeth. I had been at Jive Records for 5 years, and I transitioned to this more executive role. And I was still a junior, and I got a chance to work my way up into a senior project management role as being basically an artist development. It was my role to help prepare the artists for the marketplace, making sure that all their materials in place, making sure that every single last thing regarding their project, whether it was promotions and street promotions, publicity and marketing, everything ran finely, and it was fine-tuned, and it was exact, and it was so much fun because I had a dual role. I had to not only work with the artists, I had to work with management. I also had to work within my own building of Arista, making sure that the team members were excited about the projects that were signed to me. And that could have been challenging for some of the artists I had. It was a little challenging.
For sure. I can just remember LT making the rounds. And just like she said, she had to get everyone on board and get them excited. And she would always present the why we needed to back an artist. Now, I want to tell you a little something about the record industry.
Yeah.
If we decide we're not working a thing, we're not working a thing.
Well.
And it's just as easy as, you know what? I'm not doing that.
I don't like them.
I don't like that.
Show up. Yeah. They're not serious about this. They're not ready for it. We were the ones that were in control of people's careers, and they didn't even know it.
How about that? I think that eventually through education, because that's what we were, really educators, that eventually they learned about the industry, especially the ones on our watch.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I had so many conversations with the young artists that I worked with. I was always like Mama LT. If they were under 18, I probably worked with them. Usher, Monica, Outkast, Aaliyah. Like there was just this whole period, a stretch of time that I was working with the young artists. And I was so it's so driven to make sure they understood the business. They understood that, hey, I can get you these, jewelry, and I can get you clothing, and I can get you these limos, but it's coming out of your bill. Every meeting I take, every meal I take you to, you have to recoup it. And the
That's
goal for me was to make sure my artists were in the black and not the red.
And not the red. I will never forget the day that Monica really understood that. And instead of calling a car, we went outside and she raised her hand to get the taxi herself and drugged me up into a drugstore to buy some pro style hair grease that we still use in our household today to slick back your hair. And Monica taught me that. And I am just thankful that she really grasped hold of the concept of recoupment. And so recoupment, y'all, explain it, LT.
Basically, you got to think of the music industry as loan sharks. They're going to sign you and give you money to fulfill your dream. But the work doesn't stop there. They're going to assign promotions and marketing and sales and this stuff. And before you earn a cent, you have to pay all of that back. I remember being with KRS-One, the great KRS-One from Boogie Down Productions in San Francisco. And he was like, let's go get lunch, LT. Let's go to Fisherman's Wharf on this jive money. Let's go. And I said, sure, we'll go to Fisherman's Wharf. And I went and got the markers and I would write on the receipt. He noticed me writing KRS-One or the name of the project. He goes, why do you keep doing that? I said, everything that I do with you, you have to pay back before you earn anything. So we'll advance you. But at the same time, you're going to give that advance back. And anything that I spend on. So this meal that you had to have with shrimp and lobster and steak with your whole team members, Jive is not paying for that. KRS-One's album is paying for this. Mm-hmm. And he sat there going, why did you say so? I said, because this is what you wanted.
This is what you wanted. Didn't you say that this is what you wanted?
This is what you wanted. And so I made sure that I had those conversations with every artist I worked with so they understood. So when I showed up to get them at the airport in a white minivan, I said, let the promoters, let the TV shows that you're about to go on, let them pay for the limos. That's but let me take you on your retail runs and in-person appearances. Let me take you in the van to save you some money because that comes out of your dime.
That's right. That's right. And it's a matter of economics.
And it's even the executives. If I go to talk about your project and I write off that meal.
That meal or those drinks.
That goes back to your project.
Right. Yes, it does.
My flights, anything I expense to you goes back to you. And you got to look at that laundry list and pay for it.
That's correct. That's correct. It's some kind of education. How did you get yours, LT? Starting in this industry, where did your wealth of information, your knowledge about the industry come from?
Well, it didn't come from college. It didn't come from college because I never went to college in the traditional sense. I knew that I wanted to be in music, but I didn't want to go in the traditional way with, knowing people and getting the hookup. I wanted to answer the ad, the call, and get the job myself. Mm-hmm. You see, I grew up as a music industry brat. My mother was a background dancer and vocalist for the great James Brown, Marvin Gaye. She toured with Donna Summer. She toured everywhere. And so I grew up in the halls of the Apollo Theater, seeing all my uncles, Uncle Lionel and the Commodores and Al Green. That's how I got my education. And it was a harsh one. It was literally, especially I was raised in a time where kids were seen and not heard. And me and my brother were masters. We were the cutest little kids, and we soaked in everything. Yes. And to the point that we saw a lot of the negative as well. We saw, the pimps behind stage, the women, the groupies. We saw everything. So by the time I knew where I wanted to go and how I wanted to get in there, I had some rules. You don't sleep with your artists. You don't sleep with your managers. You don't sleep with anybody in the industry, period.
That's right.
No one can say LT slept her way to the top.
Got that right.
And I didn't mind taking that small beginning, starting out as a receptionist, because where I worked on this small label, Jive Records, part of RCA, breaking out on its own, back in 1989, having the ability to sit there and say, I can write my ticket anywhere I want to go. Because if I stay in this position, I will learn the business.
That's right.
Being on the phones, meeting the people. having the conversations. When Clive Calder would come in and they had the promotions team, he had a new artist he wanted to play. He called me to his artist before anybody else went to his office. I went because I had the pulse of the street. I was educating myself on who's doing what and the players in the game. I had to learn the business. And that's like my chapter in the book. Entertainment is it's business. It's all business.
Entertainment is all business.
You have to
behind
know the business. You have to know the business. You have to know the players. And I saw something so intriguing. My boss, the general manager, was Neil Portnow. He went on to become Naris's president. Amazing man. Touched so many people's lives. But one thing I learned from him, he read the trades religiously, of course. And every person that was doing a movement, or if a deal was signed, or if someone was being hired somewhere, he sent them a handwritten note. Everyone. He had a Christmas card list of like 2,500 people.
Wow.
And he would move and put people in as needed. But he contacted them and he didn't know these people. I read that you did this. Congratulations. I'm so proud. I'm looking forward to seeing good things. And that's how he fostered relationships, long-lasting relationships. And I learned to do that. I do that now, even with LinkedIn.
That's right.
Birthday, someone got hired. I congratulate them because they are part of this ecosystem I'm a part of. I need to support that.
That's right. And the ecosystem that your mom fed into you. Chris, put up that picture of the beautiful, I call her Mama. Tell us her name, her stage name.
Guadalupe Ladino. She's known as the Samba Mama. Brazilian woman who's toured all over the world, lived in Japan, London, Amsterdam. I'm so proud of her. I didn't understand a lot going through it. I mean, we would go to barbecues at Jim Brown's house as a child, and just all the people getting in the Mercedes and driving up Mulholland Drive with the great late Dennis. Oh my God, Dennis Edwards of the Temptations. Like, these were friends and family members to me. This was my tribe. And Mama introduced me to that. She was the original It Girl. She dated Muhammad Ali. She was just the girl. And everyone knew her. But more importantly, everybody knew Guadalupe's kids, the kitty cats, because we were there. We were at the Madison Square Garden. We were at the different shows to experience things. I'll tell you a great story that still haunts me to this day. Is the fact that James Brown came to tour. And I've gone to so many shows. I could literally sit there and be like, hit me 3 times. Like I know everything, right?
With the choreography.
Everything from a child, from like 6, 7 years old. And I'm 16 now. We're in LA. And my mom was like, hey, James is performing. You want to come? And I said, no, I want to go to Westwood with my friends. I'm in high school. I want to go hang out with my high school friends. My mother comes home that night. She goes, you messed up. You messed up, baby. And I said, what'd I do? She goes, you should have been at the show. I said, okay. Did we see Uncle so-and-so? Is so-and-so still there? She's telling me, she goes, yeah, but Michael Jackson was in the audience. And he called up Michael Jackson's and they did a little riff. And then I helped him off the stage and walked him back to the seat. Oh, and Prince was in the audience and Prince came on stage and I did this and you could have met them. And I was like, what? I was freaking out. Do you know, 2 years ago, I'm looking through Facebook and a video came up of that show, of the time when James called them up there. Wow. I could have been there. So that is still haunting me today. A gazillion years later.
Full circle moment.
And I'm like,
now I have a very real question for you, and this may touch a nerve. Speaking of haunting, does it haunt you about the work that you did with and for R. Kelly? Talk about that time, his genius, and then his inevitable fall.
First of all, the music industry is filled with predators. Those that you think are the nicest people are the biggest predators. Yeah. R. Kelly didn't start out a predator. I'll say that again for the cheap seats. R. Kelly did not start out as a predator. I worked his first 2 albums at Jive Records. I was not only his radio promotions person, it was my job to get the music on the radio and break it open in marketplace. It was also my job to help them get on television shows. I got him his first television show when Arsenio Hall refused to put him on the show. And I got him on with Jay Leno at The Tonight Show and Branford Marsalis. R. Kelly is a genius without any doubt. I don't condone anything that he chose to do later down the line. But I will say this, as a sort of a drive-by. The behavior was cultivated by those close around him.
Come on now.
That's all I'm going to say. Because
enough said.
Okay. Because sometimes if you in the industry, if you got a sweet tooth, the industry will feed you that sweet tooth for manipulation. And there was things that were manipulated. Now, when I started to see certain things happen around Aaliyah, and I wanted to have conversation with the parents, and I saw the parents putting on shades and doing this, it was simply time for me to go. And I went to Arista. That was my adult moment, because I will not condone that sort of lascivious behavior. That's the music industry. And it took me, when I had the real, even having the love for the music industry, I had to have the real grown-up conversation going, is this going to really be your life? Is this the legacy you're going to leave to your children? Is this the legacy you're going to leave on your name? Seeing the brokenness, because we dealt, this with broken people. I love being that light to the broken people. I love help making them smile and making them smarter. But there was just certain behaviors. I mean, let's be real. We helped work projects with drug dealers, known drug dealers.
Right.
Glorified this stuff. And we know this, anything. And it's cute, it's sexy, is this for, the marketplace, but it does kind of stain you a little bit.
Yeah.
When you're coming home and you're raising boys.
Come on.
I remember one time I had to market an album, and I didn't particularly think the album was the best, but the artist was ginormous and you had to market it. And I was playing the record, and I'm driving from New York over to Jersey where we lived. And I had my 2-year-old in the back, and I was pregnant. And I'm driving, and I look back, and I had to play this record over and over and over again. So that marketing stuff.
Yeah.
And I see my kid in the back, 2 years old. And I looked up and I said, is that my son who I'm going to send to college? There's nothing wrong with music. Nothing wrong with music. But it just struck me in a way. I saw something.
Yes.
That moved my spirit in a different way. And I could not figure out how to market this album to give it the grandiose that it's coming.
Yes.
That it deserved, because it had been years since this project was fully together. And it hit me. And I put in a 2-page ad in the Source. And I started getting calls. This is brilliant. Oh my God. Da, 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 da. I had to figure out a way to remind people how big and great Wu-Tang Clan was. They had gone on to do their own stuff, but as a unit, I had to remind people. And I did a 2-page ad with a bunch of Shaolin monks bowing, which would have been Buddha, but we had the Wu single. That logo, that Wu logo, that just spoke volumes to everyone. And it said nothing on it. No date, was just letting it know what's coming. And that impact, but I'll never forget, my kid in the back.
The moment that, yes.
Now I take pride in that song I was playing. Now I can take pride in it. When it was good, but it wasn't like this big hit in my mind. It wasn't the reminiscence of what I know Wu-Tang Clan, but Wu-Tang they're genius, so they're always going to overcome. But I tell you what, a couple of months ago, I'm watching TV. There's Raekwon doing an Instacart commercial playing that track. Gravel Pit. 23 years later, from when I was working it, that's the brilliance of music that I love.
Is.
The hearing Biggie Hypnotized that we worked
on Oreo.
That's the brilliance. That's the touch we had in pop culture.
That's right.
Okay? That's the touch. And so I think it's brilliant. Even looking at the Wu-Tang Clan, TV show on Hulu that they're doing, the American Saga. I'm so proud to have been a part of history.
Yes.
Knowing
and helping them define and in helping them define their artistry.
That's it.
That's the moment. And the legacy that you have crafted for yourself now, your new legacy, your chapter 2 with the employment therapist. I just think that the whole concept of it all is brilliant. Say more.
Well, it's really interesting. I got burnt out on entertainment. What do you want to do? What is your legacy? For me, life is about legacy for my children's children's children. And
Yeah,
it wasn't about just making the money. It was more about what is my stamp in history
that's right.
beyond other people's history. What is it that you're going to own? Because we know content is king.
That's right.
And so I became an executive recruiter. For me, it sounds like, why would you leave the music industry? But it was an extension of what the work that I did, because my job was to help artists make this presentation to the marketplace. I've just shifted it to helping job seekers and candidates now make the right presentation in their search for a job, in understanding how to work within a company. I offer that employment therapy that they need. And so
Mhm.
I took some of the things I learned in artist development,
That's
I
right.
applied that to helping people on a grander scale that now I feel like, is credited from heaven worthy in a sense.
Yes.
In a sense.
And I just want to thank the music and entertainment industry for giving us those kinds of skills, those translatable skills, that if you sit for a moment and really think and how it's transcendental.
Oh, is
And
it
it helps.
transcendental? It
That's right.
is.
And it allows people to be transformative. So I
People
want
don't understand
to,
that, they think entertainment is all play.
yeah, they
We
do.
worked, we learned business, we cut deals, we were savvy, we understood, a sense of urgency. You could put us in any company, in any situation, and those people that have that music background understand
That's
get
right.
it done no matter what. There's a breeding that those of us in the entertainment industry, people don't even understand.
Sure don't. Don't. And we can't explain it, but we're trying to. But I want to thank you for sharing this story, because I think that the magnitude of it all is absolutely extraordinary. God bless you, LT, for
Thank you.
being here with us today. And I want to thank all of you too. I want to thank my team, IW supervising producer, Chris Grain, technical producer, and DJ Indy, our announcer. And I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire. Don't forget to let your eyes shine, cut back on the wine, get good food fast, and go easy on the greasy. Until next time, think about something that you'd like to do that's extraordinary. God bless you.